Set B, I am talking with respect to set B. In this particular set B, we have, so we went through 11:30 we got the question paper, and by 12:30 we went through very first impression. So 100% we as a team, nearly 10 people, we sat together and we started doing the key paper, and the explanation of the key paper will also continue now. So the science and technology, from science and technology in set B, 1 to 10 questions. 1 to 10 questions are from science and technology. So from 1 to 10 direct questions are there from science and technology. From set B, 10 questions are there. And in polity, it is 51 question, 58th question and 5 questions plus 81 to 90. So overall it is 17 questions are there from polity. And from history it is 15 questions are there. From economy it is 31 to 40 direct, means at a stretch 31 to 40 and 71 to 80. From set B question paper, it is economy 20 questions, history 15 questions and geography 15 questions, environment 10 questions, current affairs which includes government schemes also. Current affairs, government schemes only 2-3 questions came this time. Current affairs 7 questions, and IR and international relations and world mapping also I understood in international organizations and international relations. So overall it is 100 questions. So if you see the pattern this time, the science and technology are 10 questions, polity are 17 questions, economy are 20 questions, history are 15 questions, geography are 15 questions, environment are 10 and current affairs are 7 and IR are 100. In this way, the overall 100 questions are being designed like this. The overall 100 questions are designed like this. So most of the questions this time are from economy questions are more, and the second it is as usual the polity questions are there, and third it is history. This time the questions are little bit easy. For example, Aragatta question was been asked, Aragatta question which was a PYQ question was been asked. In history 4-5 questions were been directly lifted from previous year's questions. So the first impression or the pattern of the examination, when we considered, so science and technology are 10 and polity are 17 and economy are 20 and history are 15 and geography is 15 and environment is 10. This time the number of questions from environment are less, but however the same environment questions are also there in geography also and current affairs and this. So overall the question paper seems to be tough only. The question paper is tough, and earlier 1:1 to 20, 21 to 40, 41 to 60, such type of questions were been there. Last year it was 1 to 10, 21 to 40, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 10 questions were been there, 1 to 10, 11 to 20. Now the jumbling of the questions are there. So the jumbling of the questions are there. So the question paper seems to be tricky. So finally I will tell that this year question paper is tricky. This year question paper is tricky, and we will have the discussion of each and every paper now. Give me one minute. So I will be starting with science and technology. Yes, give me 5 minutes. I will open the question paper and we will have the discussion. Okay? Yes. So 1 to First question, see, consider the following types of vehicles. First one, fuel battery electric vehicles. Second one, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Third one, fuel cell hybrid, electric hybrid vehicles. Hybrid means we know that we can use petrol and we can use electricity, both. So how many of the above are considered as alternative powertrain vehicles? What are this? All the three types are listed as considered alternative powertrain. So answer is all of the above. For the first question, the answer is all of the above. One is C. Second one, with reference to unmanned aerial vehicles, which are called as drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, consider the following statements. In this, all types of drones, unmanned aerial vehicles can do vertical landing. All types, see, whenever we studied in the classroom, wherever there is all or none, but we have to be very careful. All types of unmanned aerial vehicles can do automated hovering. All types. So you have to remember this all. All types of unmanned vehicles. See, fixed wing unmanned aerial vehicles typically require runways. So statement 1 is incorrect. Only automated hovering is a common feature of all types of unmanned aerial vehicles is incorrect. All will not have. Some will have. So answer is none of the above. Answer is D and the answer is C. First one and second one. Third question. In the context of electric vehicles, in the classroom we discussed electric vehicles are very important this time. See how many questions are from electric vehicles. Second question is from electrical vehicles. Electric vehicle batteries consider the following elements. How many of the above usually make up battery cathodes? So cobalt, graphite, lithium, nickel. From this, the third answer is cobalt, lithium, nickel are usually used in battery cathodes. So answer is only 3. So it is what? It is cobalt, nickel, lithium. Graphite is too much, no? Graphite is too much. Graphite is something like diamond. Graphite is very, very powerful graphite. So it is cobalt, lithium and nickel. These three are useful in manufacturing battery cathodes. So battery cathodes are manufactured by cobalt, lithium and nickel. So these are the third question. And next coming to fourth, consider the following cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses, car tires. Cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses, car tires. How many of them contain plastic? In this, how many of them contain plastic is the question. So plastic constitutes of what? Fourth, cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses and car tires all contain plastics. Yes, cigarette butts also have the plastic, eyeglass lenses also have the plastic, car tires also have the plastic. So answer is C, all of the above. So fourth answer is C, all of the above. Yes, with common sense also we can write. So eye lenses, we know it is there. Cigarette butts also, if we see, some cigarettes will be having the plastics also. So with that we can come to a conclusion. Fifth question, consider the following statements, consider the following substances: ethanol, nitroglycerine, urea. Ethanol, nitroglycerine, urea. Coal gasification technique, PYQ. Coal gasification technique is a PYQ. Can be used in the production of how many of them? So which of the substances are used in the coal gasification technology? So answer is only 2. Coal gasification technology can be used in the production of ethanol and urea. Not 3, it is in ethanol and in urea we will be using the gasification technique but not nitroglycerine. So with explanation we had made the key. If it is visible to you, with the information, with the detailed information, we are going to provide you the key. Within 2-3 hours we will be providing you the key. The explanation is written here why this answer is correct. So in ethanol and urea it is there. Then again from 96 onwards, we have again, consider the following countries. How many of the countries have more than 4 time zones? How many of them? For example, if you have UK, it have only one time zone. If you talk about Denmark, we have only one, and whereas New Zealand we have two, and when we discuss about Australia and Brazil, large geographical area, so multiple zones, so answer would be D, only two. So with United Kingdom is small, Denmark is small, New Zealand is little small, so this both are geographically large also, so it will be having more than 4 time zones, means only 2 will be having, so multiple time zones are there because of its large geographical area. So more than 4 are present with, so answer is D, 96th answer is D. So again I am repeating, set B, first question, set B, number 1 C, number 2 D, number 3 C, number 4 C, number 5 C, and coming to the 96, it is D, only 2, that is Australia and Brazil. Then coming to 97, consider the following statements: Andhra in Siberia, Andhra in Siberia and Nome in Alaska are a few kilometers away from each other. But when people are waking up and getting set for breakfast in the cities, it would be different days. So that would be because of timeline, time zones. So when it is Monday in Andhra, it is Tuesday in Nome. Which of the following statements are correct? See, Andhra, Russia, it will be like this. Russia side means east of the world, and this side it will be Alaska, west of the world. So when we cross it, the day will change. So according to that, if it is east in world map, yes, I told you this is east in world map, this is west in world map. Just remember the world map, there you can see west in the world map and east in the world map. So hence international date line separates 2 consecutive calendars. So statement 1 is correct, that is only one. Andhra in Siberia and Nome in Alaska are a few kilometers away from each other, but when people are waking up and getting set for breakfast in the cities, it would be different days. So this is the correct statement. If it is in Monday in Andhra, it would be Sunday. If it is Monday in Andhra, it will not be Tuesday, it will be what? It will be Sunday. It will be Sunday. So the statement only one is correct. So answer is A. So if you remember the world map, then we can come to conclusion. Andhra in Siberia means what? Russia side. Nome in Alaska means west side. So, but when people are waking up and getting set for breakfast, it would be different days. Yes, it would be different days. When it is Monday in Andhra, Andhra means where? In Siberia. And it is Tuesday in Nome, means Alaska. No, it is not in Tuesday in Alaska, it will be Sunday in Alaska because of change in the time. So answer is A, yes. 98th question, world map it is. Who among the following was the founder of self-respect movement? Who among the following was the founder of self-respect movement? We know that Periyar Ramaswamy Nayakar. Self-respect movement, easy question this is. Periyar Ramaswamy Nayakar. Then next 99, consider the following pairs. Resource rich in Botswana, Chile, Indonesia, nickel. Where they are resource rich 99, all 3 are correctly matched. Yes, 99C. Why? Because Botswana is good in diamond, Botswana, and Chile is good in lithium. Recently, a lot of lithium reserves were being found in Chile. Indonesia, nickel is very famous. That is the reason electric vehicles, it is playing major role now, Chile and Indonesia. 100th question, consider the following pairs. In how many of the above rows is the given information correctly matched? It means the place, the region and the country. The region and the country. Mallorca, Italy, Normandy, Spain, Sardinia, France. Sardinia, Italy. So in how many of the above rows is the given information is correct? So 3 is wrong. Sardinia is not France. Sardinia is Italy. So how many of them are correct? See, Italy, Mallorca. Mallorca is part of Spain. Mallorca is part of Spain. Normandy is part of France. And I told you Sardinia is part of Italy. So answer is what? None of the above. These are very famous region. Sardinia is very famous for human growth and development. Menarche and menopause will be there, no? For example, menarche, they will be having at 12 years and menopause will be at the age of 60 years. They are very healthy people. Sardinia people of Italy are very healthy people. We will be studying in the concept of human growth and development. So there we will be discussing these 3 points. Mallorca of Spain, Normandy of France and Sardinia of Italy. So these are the 10 science and technology questions, and few are geography questions are there. So we discussed 1 to 5 and 96 to 100. Okay. So everyone please stay intact. Other faculty will come and we will be taking the other MCQs as well. Please give me 2 minutes of time. Please come. Yes. So everyone please confirm. We both are audible and visible, please confirm. So Pratik sir, what is your, and I want to introduce you, Pratik sir, very senior most faculty in Delhi and Hyderabad. So Pratik sir, what is your first impression on this particular question paper?
So the first impression, I've gone through the polity questions, and what I understand after reading the questions is the questions asked this year were of moderate level. Some questions relatively 3 to 4 questions were easy, but the remaining questions were a bit difficult, I would say. So the questions in entirety of from polity were not easy. You are expected to understand the subject in detail. You are expected to understand the characteristics, the features in detail to be in a position to answer the questions. So we'll find out which are the questions which were difficult and which were the questions that were easy.
Yes. So your question number, sir, from where to where?
It starts from 51, sir. 53. Sorry, it starts from 51, sir. Yeah. 50, question number 50.
Fifty-one.
51. This one, yeah.
So this is, yeah. So everyone, polity questions sir will be discussing. Sir, please.
Yeah, sure. Okay, hello students. Welcome to Vishnu IAS. I am Pratik. I am the faculty of Indian Polity. Now students, the reason why we are discussing these questions is to make you understand the type of questions asked in this year's examination. You may wonder why. Because going through these questions, you'll understand the logic behind asking the questions in this year's prelims examination. Now, once you understand the questions, the type of questions asked, the logic behind the question, you will be in a position to anticipate the questions next year. So the reason why you need to solve the previous year questions is to understand the psyche of the examiners. Because once you understand the psyche of the examiners and during your preparation, you can anticipate the type of questions UPSC may ask. That's the reason solving the previous year question becomes paramount in your UPSC preparation. So let us start with question number 51. What the question says. Yeah. So consider the following statements. Panchayats at the intermediate level exist in all the states. Now see, most often you see that the topic with respect to Panchayat Raj institutions, it appears in the newspaper. Why? Because with respect to functioning of the Panchayat Raj institutions which is inefficient, you get to see topics pertaining to this topic time and again in the newspaper. So question is asked, Panchayats at the intermediate level exist in all states? No, it does not exist in all the states. Panchayat at the intermediate state exists only in the state having a population of more than 20 lakhs. So it does not exist in all states. Thus, this statement is incorrect. Now, to be eligible to be a member of a Panchayat at the intermediate level, a person should attain the age of 30 years. The eligibility to be a member of the Panchayati Raj institutions is not 30 years, it is 21 years. So in this statement is incorrect. The third statement, the Chief Minister of a state constitutes a commission to review the financial position of panchayats at the intermediate level. Now, if you have read the Lakshmikant, if you have read the Indian polity, nowhere the Chief Minister will constitute a commission. At the center level, it is the President who will constitute a commission, that is the Finance Commission, and at the state level, it is the Governor who constitutes a commission for what? To make recommendations regarding the distribution of net proceeds of the taxes and duties. How much share the state government has to distribute to the panchayats. For that we have State Finance Commission, and who constitutes it? It is the Governor. So even this statement is incorrect. So, which of the following statements given are not correct? This one is not correct, this one is not correct, this one is not correct. The correct answer is option D. Option D is the correct answer for question number 51. I hope you understood this particular question. Any questions? Let me know in the comment section. Okay, students, if you have any question, feel free to ask in the comment section. I am reading your comments, so any question, feel free to ask the questions. Okay, so let us proceed to the next question. So students, let us start with question number 58. Now the question pertains to the institution of Lokpal. What is the statement number 1? The power of Lokpal applies to public servants of India. Yes, it is applicable to the public servants of India. Doesn't matter whether they are serving in India or outside India, but not to the Indian public servants posted outside India. No, it's applicable to the Indian public servants to ensure that there is transparency, which means there is no corruption within the government functionary, or let's say in the governance, right? So this statement applies to public servants of India, but this statement is incorrect. So this statement is incorrect, right? Next. Just okay. So the next statement is a chairperson or a member shall not be a member of parliament or a member of legislature of any state or UT, and only the Chief Justice of India, whether incumbent, that is serving, or retired, has to be its chairperson. Now see, yes, the first part of the second statement is correct. No member of parliament, no member of state legislature can be a member, can be the chairperson of Lokpal. But the second statement, only the Chief Justice of India, whether incumbent, no, incumbent Chief Justice of India cannot serve as the chairperson, which means it has to be retired Chief Justice of India, retired Supreme Court, or an eminent jurist in the opinion of the President. So this statement, incumbent, is creating all the confusion. So this statement is incorrect. When this statement is incorrect, the third statement, the chairperson or a member shall not be a person of less than 45 years of age on the date of assuming office as the chairperson or member, as the case may be. Yes, under the Lokpal and Lok Ayukt Act, the minimum age prescribed is 45 years. So this statement is correct. And the fourth one, Lokpal cannot inquire into the allegations of corruption. No, it also includes allegations of corruption even against the Prime Minister. Even this statement is incorrect, which means it has to be which of the following statements given above are correct. Only the third statement, yes, option A is the correct answer. Now again, I would keep this question under the moderate category. This is not an easy question. This question demands you to understand, know each and every feature of the Lokpal and Lok Ayukta Act of 2013. Moving on to the next question. So it is the question that we have to the next question starts from question number 66. Okay, let us start with question number 66. Now this question, students, pertains with respect to pardoning power of the president. Now why this question has been asked? Because there was a topic, or there was discussion surrounding the pardoning power of the President of India with respect to commute suspension of the death sentence. So if you see, the statement pertains to pardoning power of the President of India. Now even see, this is a static topic, but behind every static topic you can see a reference to the current affairs happening in the last 1 year. So if you just type pardoning power of the president, you will get articles, you will get references that have appeared in the newspaper in the last 1 year. And so is the question. Okay, what is the question? The exercise of this power by the president can be subjected to limited judicial review. Yes, which means the President of India has the pardoning power, but is subject to limited judicial review, which means the courts will intervene only when the courts find out that the President has exercised the pardoning power in bad faith, that is mala fide reason. So yes, it is subjected to limited judicial review. So this statement is correct. Okay. The next, the president can exercise this power without the advice of the central government. Incorrect. What does Article 74 state? That the president is bound to act as per the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Though this statement is inaccurate, and only statement number 1, which of the statements given above are correct? Now this question, I will keep this question under easy category. You cannot go wrong with this question. This is an easy question. Let us move on to the next question. Okay, so consider the following statements. On the dissolution of the House of People, which means Lok Sabha, on the dissolution of, okay, let me see if any question. Okay, so on the dissolution of the House of the People, the Speaker shall not vacate his or her office until immediately before the first meeting of the House of People after the dissolution, which means once the Lok Sabha is dissolved, the Speaker will continue to hold his or her position until the newly reconstituted Lok Sabha is formed. So this statement is absolutely correct. Shall not vacate, yes. according to provisions of the Constitution, a member of the House of People on being elected as Speaker shall resign from wrong. See, there is no constitutional or statutory requirement for any member of Parliament to resign from his political party upon his or her election to the Speaker of the House of People, which means this statement is incorrect. In UK, it is a mandate for every member who gets appointed as a speaker to resign from the political party. So it's applicable in UK, not in India. This statement is incorrect. The Speaker of the House of the People may be removed from his or her office by resolution of the House of People passed by majority of all the then members, not only the present and voting. So this statement is a bit tricky. Now this question demands you to know in and out about the position of speaker. And if you see, look at the position of speaker or speaker topic is always in the news. So you expected to know in and out about the position of speaker. Provided that no resolution shall be moved unless at least 14 days notice has been given of the intention to move the resolution, which means 14-day notice period has to be given before a resolution can be passed in the House of People for the removal of the speaker. So yes, this statement is all the then, had it been present and voting, this statement would have been incorrect. So this statement is correct. Now let us look at the options. Which of the statements given above are correct? So 1 and 3, which means C is the correct answer. Yes. C is the correct answer for this particular question. Okay. Next question, consider the following statements. Question number 68. Yes, we are on question number 68, right. Now, if any question arises as to whether a member of House of the People, that is Lok Sabha, has become subject to disqualification under the 10th schedule, the President's decision in accordance with the opinion of the Council of Union Ministers shall be final. A very, very simple question, very simple statement. If you get this question incorrect, which means your preparation is not up to the mark. You cannot go wrong with this question, students. One of the easiest statement asked in the examination. So, President, no, it is Speaker. It is Speaker in the case of House of People, and then Chairman in the case of Council of States, that is Rajya Sabha. There is no mention of the word political party in the Constitution of India. What is the 52nd Constitution Amendment Act? Now this question may at times seem tricky for you, but no mention of the word political party. You may not have come across this word. See, there's a chapter on political party in your book Lakshmikant. That doesn't mean that it is mentioned in the Constitution. But if you look at the 52nd Constitution Amendment Act 1985, which is about anti-defection law. Now this 52nd Constitution Amendment Act mentions political party, which means it is a part of the Constitution. Simple. There is no mention of the word. This is incorrect. It is mentioned in the Constitution via the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, right? So statement number 1 is correct. Which of the following statements given above are correct? A, 1 only. The second, there is no mention. It is mentioned. This one is incorrect. Statement A is the correct answer. Next question. Okay. In India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concessions in respect of extraction of minor minerals, even though such minerals are located in their territories. Now, this is a current affairs based question. Now, why this question has been asked is because this topic was in the news somewhere 3 to 4 months back. The name of the legislation is Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957. This act gives the state government power to regulate and administer the minerals. So here it says that state governments have no power. This is incorrect. In India, the central government has the power to notify. Yes, the central government will only notify which are the major minerals, which are the minor minerals. But when it comes to administration, it is the state government who has got the power. So this statement is correct. This statement is incorrect, which means statement 1 is not correct, statement 2 is correct. Okay. Statement 1 is not correct, right? Yeah. So which means option D is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer for this particular question. Let us move on to the next question. These are the questions pertaining to economy. Yeah, with reference to this question. Okay. With reference to the Indian polity, consider the following statements. An ordinance can amend any central act. Ordinance has the same force and effect as that of a law. So, ordinance can amend any central act. This is absolutely correct. An ordinance can abridge, which means violate a fundamental right. Now, can a central government law violate fundamental right? No, simply no. Which means ordinance, which is nothing but a law, a temporary law, which is mentioned in Article 123 of the Indian Constitution, can abridge a fundamental right? No, it cannot violate a fundamental right. Now, this is incorrect. Third, an ordinance can come into effect from a backdate. Backdate, which means retrospective effect. Retrospective. Now, students, this is an easy question. You cannot go wrong with this question. If you're going wrong with this question, which means your preparation is not up to the mark. This is one of the easiest questions that has come this year. So you have to make sure that this question or the answer that you attempt for this question is correct.
86 to 90. 86 to 90.
Okay. Okay. Next question. I hope you understood the. So, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is ordinance can come into effect from backdate. Yes. 1 and 3. Option C is the correct answer. Right? I hope your answer to this question is correct. 82nd question. Now, Arunachal Pradesh, the capital is named after a fort and the state has 2 national parks. Now, this can be rather a tricky question. Now, how do you deal with this question? Maybe you need to use your hunch, you need to use your guess. So, again, the next statement. Nagaland, the state came into existence on the basis of a constitutional amendment act. Now see, Nagaland was the first state to have got the status of statehood, and this was granted only through constitutional amendment, which means this has to be the correct statement for sure. Even I do not know which amendment, but I know that yes, the state came into being through a constitutional amendment. So at least this question is correct for me. Now, the third, Tripura, initially a Part C state, that is after independence. There were three categories of states, Part A, Part B and Part C. It became a centrally administered territory with the reorganization of states, that is once the Reorganization of States Act was passed in the year 1956, Tripura came under the category of Union Territory and later attained the status of a full-fledged. This is 100% correct. Now this statement is correct, this statement is correct. So either the answer has to be B or C. But here the correct answer is option C. Yes, sir. Now see, the state has 2 national parks. Again, that's part of current affairs. So you are expected to know the state has 2 national parks. So my hunch says that all the 3 statements are correct. So C is the correct answer. With reference to India, consider the following: the Interstate Council, the National Security Council, the Zonal Council. How many of the above were established as per the provisions of the Constitution? A very good question. Yes, it's a very good question. So if you look at 83rd question number, right? Interstate Council, the center-state relations makes it very, very clear that Interstate Council was established via the Constitution as per Article 263. National Security Council, it's an executive body. Zonal Council, it's a statutory body. So only one has to be correct. So 83rd statement. 83rd statement, only one, which means option A is correct. So I hope you understood why the first one is correct. Interstate Council, Article 263, Center-State Relations, National Security Council, Zonal Councils, statutory body. So Constitution, which means it's a constitutional body, that is A is the correct answer. The next question. Question number 84. Consider the following statements. The Constitution of India explicitly mentions that in certain spheres, the governor of a state acts in his or her own discretion. Yes, the governor has got some discretionary powers. Which discretionary powers? 1. When no political party is in a position to form the government, the governor can use his discretionary power and appoint a chief minister of a political party, and later on the political party has to prove the majority. Or let's say when a bill comes to the governor for his assent, then the governor can refer the bill for the reference of the president, which means the governor has got some discretionary powers, and this is mandated by the Constitution. So this statement, yes, is correct. Explicitly mentions, the statement is correct. Next, the President of India can, of his or her own, reserve a bill passed by a state legislature for his or her consideration without it being forwarded by the governor of the state. Now, sir, now see, the language seems to be complicated with respect to majority of the statements asked from the polity question. Let us read the question again. The President reserve bill passed by a state legislature for his or her own consideration without it being forwarded by the governor of the state, which means the question is, can the President of India by his own refer the bill passed by the state legislature to the President? which means the president cannot suo motu by his own refer the bill passed by the state legislature for his or her reference. No. Which means for a president to look after the bill passed by state legislature, the bill has to be referred to the president only through the governor. Only through governor, once a bill is referred to the president can look into it. So this is incorrect. So which of the following statements or which of the statements given above are correct? Only one. Right? 84th question, option A is correct. Next question. So again, if I have to place this question, I'll place this question under the category of easy. The statement, the language is complicated, but if you have read the provisions, it's a straightforward question. So I'll keep this question under the easy category. Let us move on. Okay, so consider the following page, provisions and the stated under. Separation of judiciary from the executive in the public services of the state, the directive principles of state policy. Yes, this is mentioned under the directive principles of state policy, Article 50 of the Indian Constitution, which is a part of directive principle, which mandates that there has to be a separation of judiciary from executive, which means this provision talks about the separation of power principle, between the legislature, executive and judiciary. So this is a part of DPSP. Valuing and preserving the rich heritage of our composite culture. Now this is a fundamental duty of each and every citizen to preserve the composite culture of our country. Yes, this is a part of fundamental duties under Article 51 of the Indian Constitution. The third statement, prohibition of employment of children below the age of 14 years in factories. This is mentioned in Article 24 of the Indian Constitution. So very simple question, fundamental rights. Yes, 1, 2, 3. How many of the above pages are correctly matched? All the three. Option C is the correct answer. So again, I'll place this question under the easy category. Let us move on to the next question. With reference to the Constitution of India, if an area in a state is declared as scheduled area under the 5th schedule, this question talks about the 5th schedule, that is the scheduled areas. So this question pertains to scheduled area under the 5th schedule. The state government loses its executive power in such areas, that is which areas? The scheduled areas under the 5th schedule. And the local body assumes total administration. Now this is a confusion that many students have. When it comes to 5th and the 6th schedule, they think that the state government has absolutely no power. This is absolutely wrong. See students, when it comes to 5th schedule, the governor can make certain regulations for the peace and good governance. For example, with respect to how the land can be used. But nowhere, no part of the 5th schedule mandates that the state government will lose complete power. The state government has the power with respect to administration over the scheduled areas. And the second part of the statement, local body, for example, the Tribal Advisory Council constituted under the 5th schedule is only advisory. The local body constituted, the recommendations are advisory, which means this statement is grossly inaccurate. Why? Because the state government has the power. Right? So this statement is incorrect. Next, union government can take over the total administration of such areas under certain circumstances. No, this is incorrect. When we discuss that state government has the power with respect to administration over scheduled areas, there is no question of central government taking over the administration of scheduled areas. So again, which of the following statements given above are correct? Neither 1 or 2. Option D is the correct answer for question number 86. So 86. Now see, with reference to India, consider the following statements. The National Automotive Board, it comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. No, it comes under the Ministry of Heavy Industries. Heavy, this is incorrect. The next is the COIR Board. The COIR Board, Ministry of Heavy Industries, no, it's Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises. Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises. The next is National Center for Trade Information. It comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is how it should be. So how many of the above pairs are correctly matched? None, which means option D is the correct answer for question number 87. Next question. Consider the following subjects under the Constitution of India. First is the list 1, Union List in the 7th schedule, extent of the executive power of a state, conditions of the governor's office. So what is this question? The question is, for a constitutional amendment with respect to which of the above? One is Union List, the extent of the executive power of the state. The third one is the governor's office. Which of the above ratification by the legislatures of not less than 1/2 of the states is required before presenting the bill to the president? Which means this talks about special majority with the ratification of half of the states. Now see, Union List, which means it talks about the distribution of legislative powers between the center and the states. Now when a subject has to be transferred, let's say from state list to concurrent list, of course you need the permission, you need the ratification from the state government, because this disturbs the federal nature of the Indian constitution of the Indian state, and so ratification of 50% of the states is required. So yes, this requires ratification of 50% of the states. Extent of the executive power of the state. Yes, executive power, on which areas the state can exercise executive power. It requires ratification. Conditions of the governor's office. Now governor, with respect to the conditions of the governor's office, the state government has no role. Why? Because the position of the governor, it falls under the unitary feature, not under federal feature. So these two, it affects the federal feature. This does not affect the federal feature. Why? Because the governor's office is a unitary feature, which means 1 and 2 which is required before, with respect to which of the above? So 1 and 2. 1 and 2, Union List, 7th schedule, and the second one is extent of the executive power of the state. So this too affects the federal nature of the Indian state. Governor's office absolutely has got nothing to do with the federal nature. Why? Because governor's office is a unitary feature. So option A is the correct answer. Next question. '89 question with reference to the Indian polity. Consider the following statements. The governor of a state is not answerable to any court for exercise and performance of the powers and duties of his or her office. Yes, this is absolutely correct. This is what we refer to the immunity immunity which is granted to the position of governor. So the governor is not answerable to any court, neither arrest or a governor can be sent behind the bars during his term in the office. No criminal proceedings can be or shall be instituted or continued against the governor during his or her term of office. Yes, these are the special privileges not only governor but also the president enjoys. So this is mentioned under Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, the exemptions. The members of a state legislature are not liable to any proceedings in any court in respect of anything said within the house. Now this explains the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, every member is or does enjoy. So members of not liable, which of the above statements? So again, a very simple question, so I would keep this under. So all the statements are correct, so D is the correct answer for question number 89. Question number Question number 90. Okay, I guess this is the last question from Indian Polity. Okay. Consider the following statements: production of crude oil, refining, storage and distribution of petroleum, marketing and sale of petroleum products, production of natural gas. How many of the above activities are regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board of India? Now this is a question. Now please see the first statement, production of crude oil is not regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory, right? It is handled by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. So please remember that the PNGRB, that is Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, does not regulate the upstream activities like exploration and production. So this has got nothing to do with the first statement. The next one, refining, storage, yes, this is regulated. Marketing and sale, yes, this is regulated. So production, again, see, production has got nothing to do, it is not regulated. So when it comes to production, the upstream activities, it is a ministry. So this is regulate. How many of the above? So which means only two. Only two, option B is the correct answer for question number 90. Then I guess we have another question. Question number 53. So question number 53, this probably is the last question from Indian Polity. So question number who among the following are members of the jury to select the recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize? Now this Gandhi Peace Prize is an annual award instituted by the Government of India in the year 1995. This is awarded to individuals who have contributed in the social sphere, economic sphere, political sphere through non-violent means. So with a list of jury, the President of India, no, the President of India is not a part of the jury. Prime Minister, yes. CGI, yes. Leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, yes. Which means 2, 3 and 4. 2, 3 and 4, option C is the correct answer. I hope students you understood the type of questions asked in this year's Prelims examination 2025. So what is the takeaway? Takeaway is one, that you cannot escape from these static topics. You have to ensure that your grip on these static topics is as strong as possible. Second, it is very important to read the current affairs. Why? Because the static questions asked this year were somewhere related to the current affairs asked in the last 1 year. And if your efficiency of all the questions asked in this year's polity questions is coming out to be 80-85%, which means you have done a good job. Right? So that's the end of all the polity questions from this examination. The next faculty will discuss the questions from the next or the remaining subjects. Thank you so much.
Hello students, we will be having the history questions discussion by Uday Simha Reddy sir. Thank you very much sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is set, which set is this, sir? Set
Set B.
B. Set B is 21 question number.
21 to 30.
21 to 30 and also from
And also
91 to 95.
91 to 95.
Sir. So we'll need to skip to 21 question number.
21.
Yes, sir. Sir, no, sir. Correct. Next page, sir. Correct. Yes, sir. Sir, can we start? Is it rub cheyocha? Undachana? Sir. Okay, I can add it here.
Next is 2 fingers.
Okay, fine, sir.
2 fingers.
Fine,
not
sir.
1 finger.
Okay, got it, sir. Fine, I will start. Okay, good morning all. Just a while ago, you have written the UPSC Preliminary 2025 Paper 1, and I hope you all have done well in the examination. As just now sir has introduced, that I will be taking the answer discussion for the history part of the exam. Fine. Before I go and take the discussion of individual questions, let us see on the whole what significance has been given to the history section. On the whole, we have got the weightage as 15 questions, which is a very decent importance given to the subject history, because as usual from last 10 years, if we take an average, the number of questions that have come from history in the preliminary examination has been 15 to 20. Now 15 is a very decent. Next, the analysis should be on the second parameter, that is the level of difficulty of the questions. How many of them are easy, medium and difficult. And if you observe, the previous trends has been that in the last few years, there were more number of difficult questions. What do I really mean by difficult? Difficult questions are those which do not generally come from the common sources that are available in the market, like NCERTs and any other standard book. Easy, by easy I mean questions have come directly from those standard books available, and even those questions are so straightforward that you need not really apply your brain very much. Medium are those questions where question is familiar to us, the topic is familiar, but we might get confused with 1 or 2 options. Okay, but in this year, we should thank UPSC that from 15 questions, in my opinion, any person who has done a basic study of all their standard sources properly, at least 12 questions they can get it right away correct. There is no question that you can, for these 12 questions, that you can go wrong, because if you have a good read person, well-read person, definitely you should get them right. Fine. And the third analysis that we should do with respect to the subject as such is the division of the questions according to the different components of the subject. That is, how many questions we have got from ancient, from medieval, from modern and art and culture. As usual, the same pattern has continued. Maximum questions have come from modern, nearly 7 questions. That is, out of 15 questions, 7 questions, nearly 50% of the questions have come from modern India. A decent number, 5 questions have come from ancient, 2 from medieval and 1 from art and culture. Fine. So a very, on the whole, I'll say a very decent question paper with respect to my section, that is history. Fine. With this basic analysis of the overall subject, let us now go into individual questions and see the answer keys. Now again, this session is not meant to give you elaborate answers and discussions for all these things. It's only to help you to understand to what level you have performed in the examination. Fine. So with this, let us go into each of this question. The first one, we are dealing with the set B, and in the set B, the questions from 21 to 30 are history, and from 71 to 74 and the 78th question. So on the whole 15, let us start. Set B. 21st question. Consider the following statements about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Clearly it is from modern India, and that too from social religious reform movements. Two statements have been given. They are asking you which of them are correct. Let us see. The first statement, he possessed great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. Of the East means of India, because the British were the Western, right? So naturally that statement is correct. He had a great liking for this country's traditions and philosophy. Although he was very much aware that there were some defects in our culture, but he did not reject the culture as such. Second statement, he desired his countrymen to accept the rational and scientific approach and the principle of human dignity and social equality of men and women. And now that is how he wanted to change or reform this society and religion of this country. So even that's a straightforward statement. Both 1 and 2 will be right. So your answer, correct answer will be C. That is both 1 and 2. Second question is again from modern India with respect to the non-cooperation program. Here they have given you 4 statements and asking you which of these 4 were a part of the non-cooperation program that was launched by Gandhi. Let us see those statements one by one. Boycott of law courts and foreign cloth. Now that's again a very straightforward answer, because the very word of the meaning of that word non-cooperation program means Indians will not cooperate with the British. So naturally we will not go to the government law courts and we will not buy foreign clothes. So that makes statement 1 correct. Second, observance of strict non-violence. Naturally the movement was led by Gandhi. So Gandhi's insistence on non-violence we all know very well. So that makes statement 2 also correct. Third, retention of titles and honors without using them in public. That's wrong, straight away wrong, because the boycott program in the non-cooperation movement also involved boycott of titles, not only titles, but clothes, law courts, councils, any kind of government institutions, including titles. So 3 statement is wrong. It will not be a part of your answer. Fourth statement, establishment of panchayats for settling disputes. Now even if you have not come across this in your preparation, this actually 4th statement is also correct, because it kind of comes like a logical conclusion of this first statement itself. When you are boycotting British government courts, naturally you should have some other platform where you will go and settle your disputes. So Gandhi, we all know Gandhi has always been focusing on the grassroots democracy. That is Article 14 the Indian Constitution also talks about a Panchayat Raj system, and that was introduced primarily because of Gandhi's insistence. So because this movement is also led by Gandhi, the statement 4 is also correct. So answer will be, for this only 3 statements are correct. Fine. C. Next, 23rd question. 23rd question is coming from medieval India. Again, this is not from political history, but from economic history of medieval India. And any student who has done all the previous year questions from the preliminary, the last few years, they would have seen that, easily understood that it is a repeated question. A direct question that is repeated, and you cannot afford to miss such thing. Araghatta is an irrigation device that was used in medieval times particularly. What is it? It is just a kind of a big wheel which will have many spokes coming out of it, and at the end of the spokes you will find some pots, earthen pots that are attached to them. And the function of this device is that as it rotates, it will collect water from a lower level. These pots that are turning around the wheel, they collect water from a lower level and tend to discharge that water at a higher level. Now this is also called as a Persian wheel. Okay, a direct question. So the answer, if you'll see, it's B, Bombay. A large wheel with earthen pots tied to the outer ends of its spokes. Straightforward question, as I just now said. Repeated question. 24th question is from ancient India. Who among the following rulers in ancient India had assumed these titles, Matta Vilasa, Vichitra Chitta and Gunabhara? Now, might be looking difficult in the first instance, but when you try to recollect from your knowledge, you will easily be able to pick an answer for this. Because we know that from Pallava dynasty there was a king called Mahendravarman I who wrote a Sanskrit drama called as Matta Vilasa Prahasana. And that word Mattavilasa is clearly there, giving a clue for you that this person should be a Pallava king. And the answer is actually Mahendra Varman I. Because this man also took these other titles called Vichitra Chitta and Gunabhara. So the answer is A for 24th question. 25th question is such an easy question that you cannot afford to miss this. Even a person who has randomly picked up some facts from ancient India would have put a right answer for this. It's about asking for a foreign traveler from China, a Buddhist Chinese pilgrim named Fahin, who came to India, and the question is simply asking you during the rule of which king? So the answer directly comes is he came during the Gupta period, and particularly during the rule of the ruler Guptan Emperor Chandragupta II. Fine. So the answer will be B for this question. Next, 26. A question from medieval India with respect to the Chola dynasty, and again a straightforward question which asks you that which among the following rulers attacked or launched a military campaign on an empire which was ruling the southeastern Asia, like areas like Indonesia, Malaysia and all. At that time there was an empire called Sri Vijaya Empire, kingdom. And it's asking simply which of the kings attacked that kingdom. Now, logically we should understand that Cholas were in Tamil Nadu, and Southeast Asia, this is very, very close to Southeast Asia. So it was a Chola king, and clearly the answer is Rajendra I Chola. His father was Rajaraja Chola. He had already started the expansion of his kingdom, not just on the land but on the sea as well, and it was continued by his son Rajendra I, who took it forward and even attacked the Sri Vijaya kingdom in Southeast Asia. Again a dead easy question. 26 answer will be C. 27. Again a simple question from ancient India, this time from the Mahajanapada period. Okay. What they have done here is they have given a match the following type of question with 4 Mahajanapadas given on one side and with some rivers that are flowing through that regions, and asking you which of these 4 have been matched correctly. Asmaka, Kamboja, Avanti and Koshala all are Mahajanapadas, something which everyone should know really. Asmaka, they have matched it with the river Godavari. It's correct. Because Asmaka, if you see the Mahajanapada map, anyone would know that Asmaka is the only kingdom that is coming somewhere in the Deccan. And Asmaka is definitely located on the river Godavari. That's correct. Second, Kamboja is located on Vipas. Is it right? Yes, it is right. Because here there is a small scope for you people to get confused, but then Vipas was an ancient name for the modern river which we call as Bias. And Bias is a tributary of the river Indus or Sindhu river, we all know. And Kamboja, if you see, it is one of the northernmost Mahajanapada. So that is essentially correct. If that's what UPSC is simply asking you, whether you can recollect from your visual memory the location of particular Mahajanapadas and whether this river, given river, is flowing to that area or not. So even statement 2 is correct. Third, Avanti kingdom is one kingdom which is located in the western part of Madhya Pradesh, whereas the Mahanadi river that is matched with it is actually flowing in Odisha. So there is no scope that this is correctly matched. So third match the following is wrong. And fourth one, Koshala, which was a Mahajanapada in the UP area, Ayodhya area, and Sarayu is a tributary of the river Ganga, which actually flows through there. So even the fourth match the following is also correct. So the answer will be 1, 2 and 4 are correct, which means for this only 3 statements are correct. The answer will be C for this answer, for this question, for 27, sorry. For 28th question is a slightly difficult question. This actually comes from art and culture, but it's not easy to guess it because you do not find the answer for this from the regular textbooks that we all read, okay. Anyway, such questions I told you, there are 2 or 3 difficult questions. You can simply, without taking much of risk, you can actually leave those. Let us look at that question. The first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, which was a music training school, was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, where the answer is Lahore. Actually, the purpose of this school was to revive the Hindustani music, which is one of the classical music of India. As I said, it's a difficult question, but then don't worry. Instead of simply trying to guess randomly, it's better that we leave such kind of a question. Fine, but the answer is D, Lahore. Remember that. 28. Now the 29th question, again a straightforward question from ancient India with respect to Mauryan Empire's administrative system, and that's coming from Ashokan inscription. What they have done is they have given names of 3 officers Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta, and asking you at which level these people were functioning in the hierarchy of the administration. Again, if anyone has some understanding of the administrative structure of the Mughal Empire, you will straight away put the answer as district level administration. Because at the highest level, there was the emperor with his council of ministers at the central level. So it cannot be level of central administration, cannot be the answer. These were definitely not the lowest level officers also. At the village level, you had officers like nearly almost village. There was like, in the cities, there was a person like Nagarika, and in the village, it was Gramika. So it cannot be village also. In the provincial level, you had a governor called Kumara. So it cannot be provincial also. So it is definitely in the level of district level where you have Pradeshika. Pradesha means an area. So Pradeshika is a person who is looking over that area. And Rajuka and Yukta, these people were also looking into some kind of revenue accounts and maintenance of law and order in that area. So answer is again straightforward. B will be the answer for 29th question. For the 30th question, again coming to modern India, they have within modern India, again specifically they have touched the non-cooperation movement. Straightforward question again, let us look at that. Two statements have been given and asked and being asked whether which of them are right. First statement, the Congress declared attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. Yes, please. If anyone has read non-cooperation movement, they will know that in 1920, during the movement, Congress held a session at Nagpur, 1920 Nagpur session, in which Gandhi rewrote the constitution of Congress, in which he clearly changed the wording in the objective of the Congress, which till now read that Swaraj will be attained through constitutional means. And now he replaced the word constitutional with new words like legitimate and peaceful means, which means he was indirectly giving an indication to the British that we are going to use extra constitutional means also, which might involve mass movements. So that makes the statement 1 right. And the statement 2 is also correct if you look at it properly. It was to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage, only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to repression. Now, even before the movement started, Gandhi was very clear in his mind that this movement is going to have 2 phases. One is a non-cooperation phase, and if this doesn't work, if government doesn't accept and grant Swaraj to Indians in 1 year, or if the government uses force to suppress the peaceful protesters, then Gandhi even chalked out a plan for the second phase of the movement, in which he included the civil disobedience part, which generally involves violation of a law as well as non-payment of taxes. So again, that makes the statements 2 to be very, very clearly correct. So the answer will be both 1 and 2. So these are the first set of questions that they have given from 21 to 30. And then directly after this, again, you don't find much of history questions till almost the end of the question paper, where it is only from the question number 91 that we have 5 more questions that we can find here. Okay, let us see those questions. Again, a question from Gandhi only, from modern India. A straightforward question where you will see a quotation has been given by Gandhi and asked that in which context did Gandhi give this quotation? Sedition has become my religion. Now, what do you mean by the word sedition? It's simply anything, any activity that is going against the government. Anti-government activities are called sedition. And Gandhi is proclaiming sedition has become my religion, which is clearly was a statement given by Gandhi in the context of civil disobedience movement, where he was violating the government laws. And that's why the answer will be publicly violating salt law at Dandi, that is Dandi March, civil disobedience movement. It is in this context that he made this statement. And 92 is such an easy question that no one can afford to miss this. It's coming from ancient India, from Indus Valley civilization, and the question goes like this. The famous female figurine known as dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro is made of what raw material? And now I hope that answer is so clear. It's 92C, bronze. 93rd question is slightly on a difficult side, because although it is a question which is related to our knowledge, Chauri Chaura incident, we all know that is the incident after which there was so much violence, in which 22 men were killed, after which the non-cooperation movement was suspended by Gandhi. We all know that basic points, but then the question is slightly different. They are asking those people who were arrested in the Chauri Chaura incident, who provided the legal defense for those people? Now, slightly difficult, even if you leave such a question, not a much problem, because many of the people might tend to make a mistake here. And the answer goes is Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishna Kant. These were the two people who gave defense for those people who were arrested in the Chauri Chaura incident. Next is another question on Gandhi with respect to his program towards Harijans. Who are Harijans? Harijans are those people, the name given by Gandhi to the people who were at that time called as depressed classes, and today they are called as scheduled castes or the Dalits. Now, when did Gandhi start a movement for Harijans? That is the question. What made him launch a particular campaign for abolishing untouchability? If you all should recollect that in 1932 there was a pact between Ambedkar and Gandhi called as Pune Pact, and that came after after Ambedkar was demanding separate electorates for depressed classes, and Gandhi opposed that. And when finally Gandhi succeeded in coercing Ambedkar that it is not correct to give Dalits a separate electorates, and after Ambedkar got compromised and signed the Pune Pact, in order to pacify the sentiments of the depressed classes or Dalits, Gandhi started a campaign to bring them into solidarity with Congress. And as part of that, the Pune Pact, soon after this, he started this campaign called as Harijan campaign. Again, a straightforward question. There is nothing much that we need to get confused over there. And then after that, another simple question, last question from history section is in the question number 98, where a question from modern India again, from Social Justice Reform Movement chapter, straightforward question. Who among the following was a founder of a movement called Self-Respect Movement? No need to even look into the options properly, because the answer is straightforward. Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. Fine. With this, we close the discussion for the history part of the questions. I hope you people have done well, and all those people who have done their work well, their preparation, they should have definitely found the question paper to be on an easier side. And given the nature of these questions, I expect that definitely the cutoff will be higher than the last few years. Thank you so much. See you again.
So, number, sir?
41 to 50.
So, sir, please. So, dear aspirants, Basavaraj sir, as you know, is our proud faculty. So, Basavaraj sir will be discussing the geography answers from the today's test, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
If you want to push two fingers.
Okay,
2 fingers. 4, sir. 2 fingers.
that's it.
If you want to write 1 finger.
Done, sir. Okay. So welcome to Vishnu Academy. So if you see the questions of geography, so we can say that they are more factual, and few questions are there which are simple. We can say moderate one, and 1 or 2 questions are there which are at difficult level, factual based questions. But on an average, we can say moderate type of questions were seen in the context of geography, right? And most of them were from NCERT and basic facts. The question was, consider the following countries, the map-based questions. How many of the above members are the NATO organization? Now here, if you see the members of NATO, so Austria and Bulgaria are not the members. So generally, when we talk about that, so we have Croatia, which is a member of NATO. And then we are having North Macedonia, which is also a member. Then we are having Sweden, which is also the member of that. And then we are having Bulgaria. So 4 countries are there: Bulgaria, Croatia, Sweden, and Macedonia. Right. So this is based on the countries which have joined NATO after 2023. Right. Then consider the following countries regarding the Andes. Now the moment when you talk about Andes, so remember Andes is a fold mountain, and this is a cordillera mountain which is along the western coast of South America. And this Andes is spread in 7 countries. And the eastern countries, that is Brazil as well as Paraguay, are absent in that. They are the eastern one. So hence it is found in Bolivia, it is there in Colombia, it is in Ecuador, and it is in Venezuela. So remember, 7 countries are there. So Brazil and Paraguay are not the part of that. So hence it is only 4 countries. Remember, Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela. This Brazil is not a part, and Paraguay is not a part of that. Then consider the following water bodies: Lake Tanganyika, Lake Tonlé-Sop, and Patos Lagoon. So this is a difficult one. I define this as a difficult one because you may be knowing this lake as it is referred as a tectonic lake, which is created by the rift of African plate. But difficult to identify these 2 ones. So hence it is a difficult one, and hence when you talk about how many of them are in the equator, so none of them. So this is the correct answer. This is difficult one. Next, consider the following statement about the turmeric during 2022 and 23. India is the largest producer and exporter of the turmeric in the world. Yes, of course, if you see the data, it is more than 62% of global production. More than 30 varieties of turmerics are grown in India. Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu are the major turmeric producers. So all the 3 statements are correct here. So all the 3 statements are correct here. Sorry. Yes. So all the 3 statements are correct here. Next, moving down to the next question. Which of the following evidences of the phenomenon of continental drift theory? Now this continental drift theory is one of the important theory associated with the tectonic perspectives. It is a first systematic explanation about the movement of the continents. Alfred Wegener's proposal, and where he has given evidences like placer deposits are there, rocks of the same ages, coal deposits, fossil deposits. So he has taken 6+ evidences to justify his statements. But the major problem with the theory is the mechanism which he says. He says that the 2 forces, that is polar flaying forces and the tidal forces. And in fact, it was rectified by the plate tectonic theory. Now here, when you talk about the evidences, the belt of ancient rocks in the Brazil coast matches with that of West Africa. This is 100% correct. Because we say the zigs of it. So when we talk about zigs of it, so the parts, the eastern part of South America and the western part of Brazil, they were combined. So the rocks will be of the same ages. Next, the gold deposits of the Ghana derived from the Brazil plateau. So this is referred as the placer deposits. Placer deposits. So even today we find that the sources are in South America, but the gold deposits are in Ghana. Then the Gondwana systems, we refer this as tillite deposits. Tillite deposits. The sedimentary rocks of glacial ages we find in Gondwana, that is peninsular part of India, in Madagascar, and other parts of the southern parts. So hence all the 3 statements are correct here. All the three statements are correct here. Moving down to the 46th one. Consider the following statements. The amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in the subtropical and temperate areas than in the equatorial and polar regions. The subtropical and temperate areas have less dry winds. Now, the moment when you talk about such statements, you should understand something about the pressure belts. And this is a region which is called as subtropical high pressure belt. And remember, subtropical high pressure belt is associated with the deserts. And it is an area where the descending of the air is there. Right? So hence, descending air. High pressure due to descending air. So this is an area of deserts and arid part. Now any area which is having deserts and arid, so it will be having more amount of dust particles. Dust particles. So when we talk about the regions, subtropical and temperate regions, so it is associated with the geography and the meteorological connections. The subtropical high pressure belts, the western side you will find the deserts are there. And then they are the dry areas. So here we find more amount of dry winds are there rather than less, more dry winds will be seen in. So statement 2 is a wrong statement. So hence statement 1 is correct, but the statement 2 is incorrect. A very simple one. This is from your NCERT. It gives the exact idea why we find dust particles in that region. And equatorial and polar region, they always have the rainfall which is more. At the equator we find more rainfall, and poles we always have cold winds will be there. Now moving down to the 47th question. Consider the following statements. In January in the northern hemisphere, the isotherms. So isotherms are the points or the lines which connects the equal temperature. Bend equatorwards while crossing the land masses and poleward while crossing the oceans. Now the moment when you talk about this, you should remember that regarding isotherms, in the month of January, so 2 months are taken. One is January, that is after the winter solstice, and one after the summer solstice, where the lag is maximum. So we take January and July as the months where the lag is maximum. So in the month of January, when you talk about the movement of the isotherms, in northern hemisphere, the isotherms bend equatorwards while crossing the land masses and poleward while moving down towards the ocean. So this is correct one. Now, rather than that, you can remember that in the month of January, in the northern hemisphere, what happens on the land and what happens on the water. So in the land masses, they move towards the south, and in the water they move towards the north. So it means that the statement is correct. And in January the air over the oceans are warmer. So this is one of the reasons. Many reasons are there. This is one of the reasons. So hence this is correct. This is not sufficient. This is also correct, but not sufficient to explain. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, but statement 2 does not explain the statement 2. It has many other factors associated with that. Then 48th one, consider the following statement. In the context of effect of water on the rocks, chalk is known as, now here when you talk about the rocks, it is associated with two parameters, the porosity and permeability. Porosity is water holding capacity and permeability is where it allows the water to pass through. Now, in the context of effect of water on the rocks, chalk is known as very high permeable. Remember, chalk is porous as well as permeable. The chalk absorbs more water also. So it is permeable as well as porous. While clay is known for quite impermeable. So clay is referred as less impermeable, right? So here when we talk about the statements here, chalk is porous and hence can absorb more water. So this statement is 100% correct. Clay is not at all porous. So this is where the problem is. So clay is less porous. It absorbs small amount of water. It is highly permeable, but it is less porous. So that's why when you talk about red sands or sandy soils of Andhra, the moment when there is irrigation is done, the water percolates downwards. It will not hold the water. If you take clay, sorry, if you take silt, then they will be having more amount. So hence, in this case, the first statement is there, and chalk is porous, and hence the absorb water. So the statement 3 is wrong. So wherever we find statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and this is wrong statement. This is wrong. Yes, only one of the statement 2 and 3 is correct, and that explains the statement 1. So this is the correct one. 48C is the correct answer. Now moving down to the 49. Without the following, consider the following statements. Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below the freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. Now this is associated with the composition of atmosphere. Now the moment when you talk about the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere consists of solid particles, liquid particles, and also we find gaseous. So liquid and solid, generally we combine them as aerosols. So here we are having fixed and permanent gases, and variable gases are there. And within those gases, we are having some gases which are referred as greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, etc., which are having the capacity of absorbing of the infrared radiations, long wave radiations. So they absorb more amount of long wave radiations, and when they absorb, they tend to become warmer, and then they reflect back to the Earth in the form of counter radiations. Right, so which is called as greenhouse effect. So ideal proportion of carbon dioxide, ideal proportion of greenhouse gas is required to maintaining the average temperature of the Earth. If you remove these, then the temperature would have been very, very less, like that of a moon, where it will be in minus values. Right, so without the atmosphere, the temperature would be well below the freezing point every year. This is 100% correct, because here, if you remove the carbon dioxide and all, then the temperature will be in minus values. Heat absorbs and traps by the atmosphere maintains. So here he is talking about the long wave radiations, infrared radiations, more specifically carbon dioxide, water vapor, etc., which are present in the atmosphere, and they absorb these terrestrial radiations in more quantity, which maintains the average temperature. Atmosphere gases like carbon dioxides are particularly good absorbers, and they tap the radiation. So generally, we refer carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. So all the 3 statements are correct here. All the 3 statements are correct here. Now, moving down to the last question, 50th question. Consider the following statement about the Rashtriya Gokul Mission. Now, remember this. This is associated with something called as animal husbandry, livestock resources. Now, in the context of India, we are having the leading buffalo in the world. We are second in cattle population. And moreover, when we talk about the cattle population, we are having the indigenous cattle population, and then we are having the exotic breeds, and then we are having mixed breeds also. Right. And buffaloes all are indigenous in the context of India, because their gene pool is confined to India. Now, in the context of the global warming and climate change, right? So the exotic species are the one which are most affected by the impact of climate change, because their gene pool is confined to some other countries, and they were more vulnerable for disease. And that is the reason why government came up with the policy in the year 2014 that we have to protect and conserve the indigenous breeds, indigenous bovine breeds, which includes buffaloes, cattle, etc. Because indigenous breeds are those whose gene pool is confined to this country. They have evolved over a period of a time, and they are more strong in the context of fluctuation of the temperature here. Right. So hence this Rashtriya Gokul Mission, which was started in the year 2014, it was extended from 2024 up to 2026 by allocating more than 2,000 crore rupees. And it is one of the important aspects of the animal husbandry, where they are promoting the indigenous bovine breeds, where they're making systematic approach in increasing their productivity, like establishing of Rashtriya Kamdhenu centers, Rashtriya Gokul Gramas, by which they are promoting good varieties of indigenous breeds, like IVF facilities are given. And they are making all such activities by which the indigenous breeds of cattle and also buffaloes are protected, conserved, and they are improved so that the yield capacity of those can increase. right? So this is something about the the Rashtriya Gokul Mission, right? So both 1 and 2 are correct. Now if you see these questions, they are all associated with current affairs, and they are comparatively not that difficult, except one question which is associated with the lakes, and rest all of the questions you can manage them if you are good enough in NCERT and if you are good enough in your basic perspectives. So I can say that except one question, they are we can say intermediate or of very say easy moderate questions. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Hello all. So today we will have economy key, but in detailed discussion of economy will be happening tomorrow. The faculty is absent today, so I will be taking the economy main answers I will be discussing. So first question is, with reference to investments, consider the following statements, following bonds, stocks, hedge funds, venture capitals. Only how many of them are treated as alternative investment funds? So it is only two which is called as hedge funds and venture capitals are called as alternative investment funds. We know that bonds is a permanent investment, stocks is a permanent investment. We never think it as an alternative investment fund. So the answer is B, only two. And 32, which of the following are the sources of income for the Reserve Bank of India? So here select the correct answers using the code given below. Buying and selling government bonds, buying and selling foreign currency, lending to private companies. See, lending to private companies is a duty of commercial banks, scheduled commercial banks, SCBs. It is never the duty of RBI. RBI will be lending to the banks, but to the private companies it will be the duty of. So by elimination method also we can 3 we can remove, 3 we can remove, and the remaining is 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and 5. So printing and distribution of currency notes is a duty of RBI. Lending to private companies is never it is. Pension fund management is also never. Pension fund management will be done by whom? PFRDA, Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority, PFRDA. So answer is D. This is exact answer is D. This is exact answer is B. Third question, with reference to Government of India, consider the following information. ED, Directorate of Enforcement is very much in news nowadays. Directorate of Revenue Intelligence is very much in news nowadays. Directorate General of Systems of Data Management, this is something new. So in this, in how many of the above rows is the information is correctly matched? Whether ED, Enforcement of Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, Internal Security Division, Ministry of Home Affairs. So for this the answer is how many of them are correct? It is ED works under Ministry of Home Affairs. So it is Ministry of Home Affairs. Directorate of Revenue, it is also works under Ministry of Finance. Data management, this won't work under Ministry of Finance. So answer 1 and 2 are correct. So this is with respect to 33. Answer is B. We know that ED every time it will be coming under which option? ED works under which one? Enforcement Directorate works under what? So in this way the answer is both. Similarly, 34th question. 34th question, consider the following statements. Consider the following statements. The Reserve Bank of India mandates all the listed companies in India to submit a business responsibility and sustainable. 34, it is all or not. Which of the statements are correct? So the Reserve Bank of India It is SEBI or RBI. Tell me which of the statement given above are correct. 34th statement, it is, next is, in India a company submitting BRSR, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, makes disclosures in the report that are largely non-financial in nature. So which of the above statements above are correct? It is the statement only 2 is correct. So in 34th we can go with B. Next question. So this is little bit controversial, B or D. Now itself I am telling it can be B or D. It's controversial question. 34th. 35th. Consider the following statements in India. Income from allied agriculture activities. Agriculture and allied activities like poultry farming and wool rearing in rural areas is exempted from any tax. 35. Rural agriculture land is not considered capital asset under the provisions of. 35th answer is only statement 2 is correct. Poultry and wool is not exempted. These both are not at all exempted. They are under the, poultry farms are under the ambit of tax. No. Poultry farms, wool rearing, woolen cloths, woolen companies. So answer for 35th is answer D, where statement 1 is not correct, statement 2 is correct. Similarly, consider the following statement. India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. India is a resource-rich country in all the 30 critical minerals, and that is identified. The Parliament in 2023 has amended mines and mineral activities. So 36 is 1 and 3. Yes, it got amended. 36th question. Answer is C. 37th, as regards return from an investment in a company, generally bondholders are considered to be relatively at lower risk. Bondholders are lenders to a company whereas stockholders are its owners. For repayment purpose, bondholders are prioritized over stockholders by a company. So core economy question it is 37th. So answer is 2 and 3 all are correct. Yes. Answer is 36th. 37th, the answer is A. Both statement and 2 are correct and both of them explain statement 1. Answer is A. See, it takes, see, people are thinking the question paper is easy, but the question paper is very tough. Why? Because the statements are very long. The statements are very long. The statements itself will take lot of time to read. So hence, the economy history part is easy, but economy part is tough. 38th, India accounts for a very large portion of all equity option contracts traded globally, thus exhibiting a greater boron, a greater boom. India's stock market has grown rapidly. So 38th answer is A, only 1 and 2 is correct. Similarly, 39th, circular economy, 39th circular economy answer is A, all are correct. And 40th last question with respect to economy is answer A. In detail economy discussion will happen tomorrow. So these are the, we did polity, economy, history, geography, economy at some part and science and technology. So remaining we will be doing in a piecemeal manner. It will be helping you to understand more about the pattern of UPSC examination. Thank you, all the best.